everybody. Welcome back to On the Right Side podcast here at the America First Warehouse in Long Island, New York. After a 2-week holiday hiatus, and we are so anxious to get to it with all the crazy issues that have been going back and forth over the last few weeks, even over the last 2 hours. I'm Steve Levy, your co-host. I'm the former Suffolk County executive, former New York State Assemblyman, the president and CEO of the fiscally conservative think tank, the Center for Cost-Effective Government, and contributor to Newsmax and many other periodicals. And to my left, not necessarily politically, is the one, the only, the legend, David Zare from Real America's Voice. David, welcome back.
Hi, I'm a legend in my own mind. Whoa, hi. Everybody, welcome to the America First Warehouse. Go to the AmericaFirstWarehouse.com and check out what's going on. I'm David Zare with the Real America's Voice. Been busy on the ground in Washington. Was at the White House, Capitol Hill, the Pentagon a few weeks ago. And then, the day before yesterday, at the Maduro arraignment in the courtroom. Now, I was in the overflow courtroom, but you still got to watch the proceedings because there were like 300 media and in there, and there wasn't room for everybody. But it was fascinating. And Maduro looked like the beaten-down drunken uncle at your daughter's quinceañera, not a left-wing dictator.
Well, it's just like really, Saddam. They all get humbled.
Taken out of his cells.
They all get humbled when they're in cuffs, right?
But he said, I'm an innocent man. Meanwhile, people outside were telling me how they got tortured by Maduro or their families, and people were kidnapped.
Did you see any of the protests from the lefties outside the building?
Them.
Okay.
Yeah, they're jackass.
Because this is amazing, because these are the guys at the No Kings rally. We don't want a king, okay? But we want the dictator to be back in office, not the democratically elected faction that had really won the election.
Yeah, or the white 23-year-old pseudo-communist out there dictating or lecturing everybody on communism. And then people were going up to him and saying, what the hell do you know about communism in Venezuela? My family was kidnapped and tortured by him. You're an idiot. You don't know anything. Get the hell out of here. So what didn't get reported in the mainstream media was the number of people that were there that were counter-protesters to the protesters.
Sure.
So.
Well, I know there's a lot of, there's millions and millions of people who related within Venezuela and those who've come here for refuge. But, I know a lot are holding back, David, and I understand why. It was confusing to me, I have to say. First of all, I was giving kudos, congratulations to Trump, Hegseth, Rubio, Raising Cane, General Raising Cane, for an amazing operation. They took a great risk. They would have been embarrassed with egg on their face had it failed. So they win that good, take a bow. I'm concerned, though, that I think the rhetoric after the fact has to be about democracy. Our purpose in going there was to depose this dictator who tore up the election results and with Chavez decimated, which once was the richest nation in Venezuela, and now they were eating dog food. I wish the president would have said this was about democracy instead of talking about oil. Oil's important because they need to start repumping to get wealth into the hands of the Venezuelans. But I'm afraid he might be giving fuel to the crazy lefties who say this is imperialistic, it's the ugly American, and then you have them talking about Greenland in the same breath. Just take the bow. You won. You got this guy. Now let's talk about getting the truly elected folks into office and rejuvenating human rights there. What do you think?
Before I get into the democracy aspect of it, China gets 85% of Venezuela's oil exports, and they also gave about $2 billion, I think, in oil to Cuba. So this is about also putting a chokehold on these countries in the Western Hemisphere.
Hey, that's good.
So the premise of this, though, was this goes back to Judge Hellerstein, who's a Clinton-appointed judge, going all the way back to 2011 with the indictment of members of the Venezuelan government, including El Barrio, also known as AKA El Pollo, from the Sinaloa cartel, from the Tren de Aragua operation. And these people were thugs and murdering and kidnapping people. And what happened was this indictment was sitting there and nobody was doing anything about it, right? So it's easy to indict somebody, but what do you do? Now, there's precedent going back. This is going to take 1 minute, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
So if you go back to 1989 to William Barr, who was the head of the DOJ Office of Legal Counsel
Then became
at the time, to justify
the Attorney
the
General.
Noriega taking and the FBI going in on the ground and arresting
Under the first Bush administration.
became part of federal decisions where you can go, because his defense for Noriega was that you can't do that, this violates international law.
Which is what his lawyer, Maduro's lawyer, was pleading today.
Barry Pollock, and they're going to lose that because there's precedent in U.S. federal court now where you can go in despite violating international law and despite any jurisdiction that may be in the way. You're allowed, the United States, if you have an indictment pending, to go anywhere on the globe and take that
This was a
person.
criminal action.
So he's going to lose that.
Right.
He's going to lose that. And the other thing was a 2020 indictment came out for Maduro, and then Biden didn't do anything about it. So not only you have the election fraud, but then you got this indictment operating with the Sinaloa cartel, with the Cartes de las Soles, with Tren de Aragua, kidnapping, murdering people, people disappearing, and everything. And then you take on top of that this superseding indictment, which came out about a week ago, which takes precedence, which indicted his son, his wife, the Minister of Peace and Justice, whatever the hell that is, and other people in there for additional activities. And they can throw even more charges on it. And this is my point. El Barrio, a.k.a. El Pollo, just got convicted this year in like September. So, and he's going to be sentenced. I think he cut a deal, and I said this on the air the other day, and then today an article popped up. El Barrio, El Pollo, Barrio, Armando Carvajal Barrio, is going to testify against Chavez.
That would be
Maduro. So
what
this is like
theater
all
that
like
will
a
be.
coordinated thing. This is crazy.
You know, as Marco Rubio said on the Sunday shows, look, stop talking about this being a violation of international law. This was a criminal matter. And the United States long arm of the law has the ability to go after anyone, anywhere around the nation. But the biggest irony in the world, that's what I meant to say. The biggest irony was Chuck Schumer and Senator Chris Murphy of Connecticut. They must have forgot there's this thing called video, right? These guys are saying, "Oh, this is a war crime. How could Trump do this?" And dethrone a person in a sovereign state. And then you replay the tape and you see Schumer and Chris Murphy say, back when Trump was in office the first time, why won't Trump go after Maduro? He should not allow Maduro to stay here. You talk about egg on your face. It was absolutely ridiculous. And the idea that this was illegal, well, I didn't remember these guys saying it was illegal when Barack Obama sent some bombs into Libya to get rid of Muammar Gaddafi, right? I don't remember when they said that about Bill Clinton. Yeah. When he dropped some bombs in Kosovo. And, of course, we have the precedent of George Walker Bush, George H.W. Bush, going in to plucking Noriega out of Panama, and he died in prison, in an American prison, right?
Yeah, for sure. Judge Hellerstein, by the way, Clinton-appointed judge, he was the same judge that denied Trump's use of the Alien Enemies Act of 1798 to deport Tren de Aragua members out of the country. Also, he was the judge that didn't give Trump jurisdiction or move his trial to federal court. So his hush money trial stayed in state court and led to convictions, which were based on federal charges. So the whole thing was bogus.
Absolutely.
And wasn't even legal. And I sat in that trial almost every day. It was really just a racket.
But again, you know, kudos to President Trump for reestablishing the Monroe Doctrine here in our Western Hemisphere. The weakness of Joe Biden was just so evident, and it was clear because Venezuela, now controlled by communists, was letting our lifelong enemies here in Russia and China and Iran to set up shop in the Western Hemisphere. And the message being sent to these guys around the world is, no, not on, there's a new sheriff in town, no more.
And this is about Mexico and Cuba, too,
Yep.
and China. Okay, I'm going to play devil's advocate here. What would prevent Putin from flying in a special ops team? Not that they could pull something like this off, because they're inept, but taking Zelensky.
Well, this is where I was getting. This is what I was going to get into, and more importantly, now does China have a podium and a high horse to say, oh, well, if you could knock out this guy Maduro in this sovereign nation, well, we can go into Taiwan, right? There's a difference, of course, because Maduro was a crook who stole an election and was poisoning America. And, you know, Trump is right that they stole the oil rights. I mean, we didn't take them over through colonialism. We negotiated these oil rights, our companies and the Venezuelan government. And Chavez comes in and says, no, we're tearing that up. They basically stole all that infrastructure money that we put in. So we have reason to go in there. But that's why the president has to talk in moral terms and not talk about we did this for the oil. You give strength to the lefties and to Putin to talk about Ukraine, and for Xi to talk about Taiwan. So President Trump, hear what I'm saying. Talk about democracy, less about oil. All right. We've got 5 seconds left here. We will see you in 2 more minutes after the commercials. We got a lot more to talk about, including the ICE murders.
Most people think they have options when searching for the best deals when they travel. But here's the shocking truth. 100% of the major travel agencies are owned by just 2 entities, Expedia and Booking Holdings. They claim to offer the lowest rates, but due to the hotel rate parity agreement, they all have the same pricing, limiting genuine competition. When you book through these sites, you act as your own travel agent, but the profits are going to organizations that don't support our patriot values. We cannot allow that to continue. So, we decided to make travel great again by starting a US-based travel membership platform, mypatriottravel.com. We are patriots helping patriots. Together, we can disrupt the travel industry by not spending our hard-earned dollars supporting the radical left. For just $29.99 per month, you gain access to true wholesale rates on travel, saving you on average 35% and up to 65%. Book as often as you like, with no limits. Keep your hard-earned dollars in your pocket and spend them on things you need and want to support. Go to mypatriottravel.com/TAFW and grab your membership today. mypatriottravel.com/TAFW, making travel great again.
Hey, fellow patriots, it's Cindy Gross here, host of Right for America, from your favorite place, the America First Warehouse. You've seen me show on my show so many products from this country's #1 most patriotic manufacturer with close to 400 products. You need to exchange the products you use in your house to this company and make your dollars count in our country.
I'm sure you guys remember the platinum single Justice for All with Donald Trump and the J6 Prison Choir. Well, get ready for round 2. We're coming out with Anthem of the Free with High Res and the J6 Prison Choir. It's coming out now. It's pre-sale until December 19th when it drops. Get yours on all platforms, Google Play, Apple iTunes. Get it. It's going to be hot.
Justice for all, our voices ring. The anthem of the free.
It's me, Joe the Box, the America First Warehouse, most patriotic venue in all the land.
The America First Warehouse, a beacon for all to see. A symbol of unity. For the patriots of America, we stand tall and free. In the America First Warehouse, where our hearts will always be.
Hey, you're back, folks, with the On the Right Side podcast here from the America First Warehouse in Ronkonkoma, New York. And we have to thank Joe DeBox, who is our savior here. He's the guy who put this all together through his hard work and his money, and makes it possible for Patriots to do these podcasts and have so many magnificent events. If you're ever on Long Island, don't miss the opportunity to be here in studio. We packed this place with 150 people with various shows and book signings and so many great events. I'm Steve Levy. I'm your co-host here. I'm a former Suffolk County Executive, New York State Assembly member, and I'm a recent purchaser of gold through this website called the TAFW soundmoney.com group. Okay, I got so concerned about the volatility in the world. We're talking about Venezuela upheaval, what's going on in Ukraine, who knows what else is going to happen. Gold has been going through the roof as a result, and I'm now a purchaser, so you might want to as well. And my co-host here is David Zare from Real America's Voice, and he's always got his nose to the grindstone, actually in there as a White House correspondent. You were in there with Maduro being arraigned. We finished talking about Venezuela, but part of that was Trump's comments now extending out to Greenland, where he's saying, we got to take it. And I'm concerned, David, because I think it's very smart strategically to try to buy Greenland, to try to work out something there. But we have a good relationship with Greenland and Denmark. Why do we want to, again, give that imperialistic, ugly American view that, hey, we won't rule out force? I know some say it might be a negotiating play, but what's your thought? Is it going too far with the rhetoric?
It's messaging. You know, and that's part of it. Now, you know, I read a good article yesterday talking about how we might even be able to achieve securing the rare earth. And, you know, we have a space base there. We had Thule Air Force Base there forever. When I was a teenager, I flew over that in a C-141 Starlifter when I was in the Air Force Auxiliary. It was really cool. But, you know, we have had bombers there. We've got a space base over there. So, you know,
we have a good relationship with them.
We do. You know, I just think that to put everything out there at once, now we're removing this leader of this country, and then we're going to go into Greenland and all the stuff. You know, it gives the Dems a lot of ammunition.
It does.
But
That's what I'm
to
worried
swing the
about.
midterms that our government is out to take over the world, and it's really not the case.
It's not the case.
You know, it's not. And Maduro is a bad guy with open U.S. indictments for many years. His other leaders there were indicted going back to 2011 here in the United States with the U.S. Southern District under DOJ, under Obama, right? And he's an illegitimate government. And
Biden had a warrant, a reward for his capture.
But like, you know, like I would, you know, save the oil conversation for later. because
Exactly.
Venezuela has really bad oil, right? They have
Dirty oil.
$300 billion of oil. It's the refineries along the Gulf Coast in their heyday when they were at 3.5 million or so barrels per day. Now they're only kicking out, I think, less than 1 million, maybe 800,000 or even less. They can't process and refine their oil.
Right.
Right? And most of their oil goes
But
to
China doesn't care, right? Because
Right.
China will take the dirty oil. They don't care.
So, but that's going to change, and that dynamic will change. Now, we were still buying the same amount of oil, like 100,000 barrels a day this whole time, just like in Iraq. When we went into Iraq in 1990, and we went Iraq in 2003, we always bought the same, like 500,000 barrels per day of oil that we always bought. It wasn't like we cut off relationships, but we didn't take their oil. And, you know,
That's what sets us apart as Americans. We don't do that.
Right. And
we don't go in and
Chevron-
take it.
So I think, so the economy, my whole point is the agrarian economy was based on cocaine profits and the Cartes de los Soles and Sinaloa and all this stuff because he destroyed the nationalized oil industry, which was destroyed in 75. In 1990, I think it was at its peak in production. But
They were the richest
Maduro-
country in South America because of their oil.
Maduro ruined it, right?
Chavez
So
first.
now they need an economy. So I think
Right.
as part of stabilizing that, Trump knows that they got to revitalize their oil industry. And
Of
we're gonna
course.
process their oil.
But don't make that the number one thing you
Yeah.
talk about and the only thing you talk about. Keep talking about democracy. And when you're talking about Greenland, it's a very good thing that this president is saying, hey, we want to maximize our strategic prominence in the world, and Greenland can play a role in that. They have natural minerals and things of that sort. But don't make it sound like you better agree with us or we're going to come in guns a-blazing and take you over. And that gives the Europeans, those feckless weaklings, the upper hand to say, this is a violation of NATO. And it probably is. The irony, David, is they're saying, you better not do that or we'll throw you out of NATO. Go ahead. I would love to see that day, as if we need the European nations more than they need us. We're the only thing standing between Russia rolling through and what they have today. So please stop the histrionics and the bluffing, Europe. We know where you're coming from. But we are giving them a leg up morally when we talk about going in there with guns a-blazing. I know he's not going to, and it's a negotiation ploy, but don't do it. You don't need to.
Republicans have broken ranks with Trump on this.
Yes.
Now, you got the usual suspects like Lisa Murkowski and Don Bacon and everything, and even John Thune and Tom Tillis, but you got Blake Moore of Utah, Jerry Moran of Kansas, Mike Johnson of Louisiana. You know, these guys don't want talk of military action. And Rand Paul, and people are upset. You know, so. I don't know. It might be. It's too much, too close together. And I understand that we want hemispheric hegemony, right? We to protect. It's the Don Roe doctrine, right? We get it, and we all want that, right? At least the people.
Yeah, we don't want Russia and China setting up base in the Western Hemisphere, but there's a way to do it.
Right, and Russia, you know, Reagan went into Grenada because the Cubans. Now it was interesting. 32 Cubans were killed in the attacks. They were providing all the security for the Venezuelan government. They're in cahoots with the commies in China and Cuba. It reminds me of Grenada when you had 700 construction workers who were really Cuban mercenaries building that runway for the Soviet Union in the Caribbean. That's why we went in there, right? After they kicked out Maurice, Maurice Bishop took over with the Line of March speech in October '83.
You mentioned Reagan.
Yeah.
How did Reagan galvanize people around the world, along with the Pope and Lech Walesa? It was on moral authority.
Yeah.
It was on moral authority. Yeah. They are the evil
Standing
empire.
in front of the tanks.
When you guys stand up and protest, we have your back. That's what Barack Obama failed to do with the Muslim Spring back, years ago. The Arab Spring. He could have stood with the Iranian protests. He didn't. They got snuffed out. Here's the time. There's protests in the streets in Iran. Thanks to the pressure that Trump has put on them economically, they're suffering. Now's the chance to get up there, President Trump, say, we're with you.
Yeah.
The folks seeking democracy in Iran, we're with you. The folks in Venezuela seeking democracy. That's the way to go.
Yeah, I agree with that. And, I've been covering Iran for a while. Not that I've ever been there, but, there was a water shortage months ago, and I predicted about 5 months ago that, because I was at the White House when the bombing started, and I watched Trump leave for Jersey, and then the next day I got called back there when the bombing started, and then he came back and had his meeting in the Oval Office with everybody. And, I predicted, and we've been working with the National Council of the Resistance in Iran also. And I've been talking to them and interviewed them. And, Miriam Pahlavi, Miriam Rajavi.
Descendant of the Shah, right?
No, Miriam Rajavi is the head of the NCRI, which are more like socialistic, but they defied the Shah, who murdered a lot of people and kidnapped a lot of people. So they're probably going to be the ones to resume power. But Reza Pahlavi is the son of the Shah.
That's what I was referring to.
Doesn't have a grassroots movement in Iran.
No, they don't want a return of those guys. No
and
way.
They don't want
to
be reminded of the Shah. So there's a lot of dynamics going on. So it is very timely right now. I don't think we should do anything to we're not going to drop weapons in there. But I always said, why don't you drop 10,000 Starlinks in there and let them start their own revolution?
But yeah, exactly. But remember, the fall of the Iron Curtain was dominoes, right? It started in Poland, and then the floodgates opened and it knocked down the dam. You could see that in the Western Hemisphere. I mean, thanks to the changes we're talking about now, Chile went in the right direction. They got rid of a lefty, and they've got a more sensible person. Argentina, I'm telling you, Cuba can go down. Cuba can go down.
Well,
and
now
Colombia,
if we got them by the short ones with the oil.
absolutely.
Now they're only buying like.
But you have to have the moral authority.
Cuba's only buying like 15,000 barrels a day from Venezuela. They're buying more from Mexico. But it's still not a lot in total. But we can hold them hostage.
Yeah.
On the oil thing.
Well, you can build that crescendo, but you can't do it if we're sounding like imperialist, the ugly American. It's got to be Reagan-esque. It's got to we're the beacon of light. We are defenders of freedom. Rally around us, and we'll have your back. In Iran, in Cuba, in Venezuela.
I'm MAGA to the core, but why would Trump talk about military intervention in Greenland?
Right.
I don't get
right.
it.
Well, I know he wants those territories on his watch because he's always looking at legacy. And everybody looks back to the Louisiana Purchase, et cetera, now expanded. But remember the word purchase within Louisiana Purchase. It wasn't a takeover. It was a negotiated purchase with France.
And it's vital for us, for Greenland, too, because the waterways are thawing out between that and the Arctic Circle and parts north of Canada. And it's really important for us to take control of that. We don't want the Soviets getting or the Russians getting.
It's very important. I mean, we do have bases there, and if there was a war, we'd coordinate just fine with Greenland and Denmark. But there is a reason to say, hey, we have interest there. Let's work to get even more.
We're building and buying icebreakers.
Yeah, well, it would be great. Hey, listen, folks, in the next segment, we're going to have fun with this. Did you hear about the new mayor of New York City, who he appointed to represent tenants in New York City? Will blow your mind. Does not believe in Americans being able to own property. Yes, communism has come to our shores. Stay with us. We'll see you in 2 minutes on the Right Side Podcast.
Noticed your money just doesn't stretch like it used to? Your paycheck feels lighter, and your savings aren't growing. The culprits? Inflation and increased money supply. They've both been quietly eating away at your purchasing power for years. Today, the dollar's value has dropped significantly. You feel it every time you spend money on goods and services. Back in 1965, $1 or an ounce of silver could buy you a gallon of milk. Fast forward to today. That same dollar barely buys a couple of coffee creamers, while an ounce of silver would get you 8 gallons of milk. Gold and silver have held their value for centuries. If you had 2,500 ounces of silver back in 1965, you could buy a brand new Ford Mustang. Today, 2,500 ounces of silver would buy you 2 Mustangs. Similarly, in the year 2000, 628 ounces of gold would buy a new $170,000 home. Today, 628 ounces would buy you a $2,500,000 home. The problem? 95% of Americans don't own physical gold or silver. They think it's too complicated and too expensive, but it doesn't have to be. We offer a membership program that allows you to buy gold or silver with as little as $1. You can buy fractional amounts, safely vault them, or have them delivered to your doorstep, and you can liquidate them whenever you want at the highest buyback price in the industry. Ready to protect your wealth and keep your purchasing power? Scan the QR code or go to tafw.soundmoney.com to learn more.
If the vote count is accurate, then how come the number of voters is different? And if it's not accurate, then why was it certified? We are suing Letitia James and the New York State Board of Elections for a conspiracy against fundamental rights. This is not about who won. It's not about what party. It's about the fact that they don't care about your rights.
All right, live from Studio 6B on a Friday night, live at the America First Warehouse. Live at the America First Warehouse on a Friday, Real America's Voice, all across the country, 103.9 LI News Radio, all across your radio, Suffolk County, Long Island. Glad you're in.
It's me, Joe the Box, and I'm John the Blanket with the America First Podcast.
That's what I'm talking about, the Fred Rubino Podcast.
I'm James Justice. We got Stephen Ruth over here. What are we doing, Steve? Fighting! Welcome to the Patriots Podcast. Good evening, everyone.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the On the Right Side podcast here at the America First Warehouse.
Welcome to Liberty's Cage, the podcast tearing down the walls of America's broken justice system.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Kevin Downey Jr. podcast. Be free, stay free.
Hello, everybody out there across America. This is David Zier coming to you live from the AmericaFirstWarehouse.com for On the Right Side weekly podcast here with Steve Levy, former county executive, former New York State Assemblyman, Democrat turned Republican, fiscal conservative, and the Center for Cost-Effective Government.
Yeah, CEO.
Right?
Think tank, conservative think tank.
And I'm David Zier, Real America's Voice News. We're talking about a lot of stuff here. Oil, Greenland, Mamdani. Let's talk about Mamdani.
Our favorite commie.
Oh, my God.
Commie from another mommy.
Right. So he's got this Chia Weaver. Chia Weaver. I think you say her name Chia. It's C-E-A.
It's like a chia pet.
Yeah. She's this white girl, right? She's
a white girl who hates whites.
She's the new chief advocate for tenants in New York City, a top housing official.
Yeah.
Under Mamdani. And she said home ownership is a weapon of white supremacy and that we need to elect more communists in past social media posts. She also wants to seize private property in New York City. So that's not going to go well, right?
Yeah. It's here. You know, so many of my relatives and friends, leading up to that election, I tell them, you don't understand what you're doing by voting for this guy. Do you know what communism is? This guy's the real deal. He's not just talking about affordability and limiting your rights. He wants to turn us into Cuba.
Yeah.
And that means you can't own stuff anymore.
Yeah.
Nah, you're crazy. He would never do that. He would never do that.
But his chosen few will build the 200,000 affordable, so-called affordable units, and they're going to benefit. So his millionaires are better than your millionaires, Steve.
Oh, of course, just like George
billionaires.
Soros, the billionaire.
Yeah.
He's okay, but not Elon Musk.
So Weaver, this girl, just like when I covered the ICE protest, there were all these white girls there with schmatas on, and there were no Mexicans protesting ICE, right? And they're calling the police pigs and all this stuff, and what do they know about anything? But it's the same thing here. Like, you got this white girl claiming that white people are the devil. Meanwhile, it turns out, yesterday it's reported in New York Post.
Love this.
Her mother is a professor at Vanderbilt University, I think, in Kentucky, and owns a $1.6 million house.
Seize it! Get that house! Seize
A
it!
$1.6 million house in Kentucky is $5.8 million here on Long Island.
Isn't that like Bernie Sanders, the socialist? He's got 3 homes. You know?
Yeah, 4. I think 4.
You know, Omar comes into Congress.
Worth
$35,000. She's worth $35 million now, you know, and in like 4 years. Unbelievable.
What about Tim Walz? You want to talk about Walz?
Oh, let's talk about Walz.
And the shooting? And Walz, you know, in shame, hanging his head in shame, not running again?
He's got the audacity to be blaming Republicans and Trump for his downfall. And he, at his press conference, he says, Republicans want to make this about brown people who can't stop stealing. This has nothing to do with brown people. Take the Somali thing out of it for a moment. We're not even going to mention the fact about what a high percentage of them come here and go on welfare, which was never the intention of immigration. Take that out of it. How about the fact that it's billions of dollars in fraud? And you guys were warned about it by whistleblowers, and both Walz and Attorney General Keith Ellison, who is a disgusting, horrible anti-American, they basically told the Somali community, hey, we'll look the other way because we know if we don't, you'll call us racist. Absolutely unbelievable, David. It reminds me of what happened in England, where so many white-guilted English members of parliament and leaders in local cities looked the other way as immigrant Muslims were raping white English girls because they didn't want to make it look like they were picking on the immigrants. Actually, I thought that would never come to America. Boy, was I wrong. We saw it with Walz and Emerson and Minnesota.
Yeah, what a mess. Such a mess. And he's talking about like 20% of the economy is fraud in Minnesota. But I want to talk about this Minnesota shooting.
Yeah.
This woman supposedly was shot and killed today. Get ready for the riots. 2,000 federal agents on their way to Minnesota, I'm hearing. Right? The senator from Minnesota is the junior senator is saying to Tina Smith for ICE to get out of Democrat for the people's safety. But this woman.
And so did Fry, the mayor, Jacob Fry.
Right? And she not only blocked ICE, but supposedly turned her car into a weapon and tried to run them over.
Yeah.
And this quick-acting cop, shot her.
Yeah.
So, it'll be another George Floyd 2.0.
It's all right.
That's what they're trying to do.
You folks have to listen. On my way here to the studio, I was listening to the audio of Mayor Jacob Fry's press conference. It was disgusting, David. Before he knows anything.
Today? I didn't hear it.
Today.
Oh.
He was saying, ICE, get out. You caused this by being here. You're separating families. I'm sorry. This is Fry saying, I'm sorry to the Minnesota community for this. We will seek justice. Not saying we will seek justice for the ICE agents who were almost murdered by this individual trying to mow them down, but he's going to seek justice for the person who apparently attempted to murder the ICE agents. Where are we in this world today?
Okay. Is mind control real? Like, what's the chances of this incident happening right when all this stuff's going on with Maduro, with the fraud in Minneapolis? Now all of a sudden there's an ICE shooting. Did this woman, I don't know, did they give her family $20 million? Like, I'm not serious about this, but maybe. What the hell? What's the chances of another George Floyd-like incident happening at this crucial time in our history?
Tremendous, because it's deflection by the Democratic Party, because they know their power is now under attack by the Trump administration. The whole concept of the illegal immigration throughout the United States, but particularly in Somalia, was bring them over, put them on welfare, make them wards of the state. They'll be dependent on the ruling party in power, which is the Democrats. Come on over, we'll give you money. You reward us with donations and votes. And now the Democrats in Minnesota are being threatened by this, so they try to deflect. Now, with ICE and immigration, what are they doing? They know that by having imported millions and millions of illegal aliens for the purpose of shoring up their districts, their congressional districts that were losing middle-class people to cheaper red states. They had to fill those voids, and they did it with the illegal immigrants. They're trying to do anything they can to gum up the works and
it's
get
all
them
about
out.
changing the census.
Yeah, and future votes when they give them amnesty, right?
Yeah, maybe when we come back after the break, I have a complete midterm breakdown for 2 or 3 minutes for you.
That'll be great.
Of the close races going on with the death of the congressman from California and the impacts, razor-thin majority in the House, right?
Yeah, well, we have a razor-thin margin of what? 3 votes. You just have a flip of 3 seats, and it's game over. And as Trump was saying yesterday in his speech, first thing Democrats are going to do is impeach him. And they don't even know what it is yet, but they'll find something, and that's their MO. So it's really important that the Republicans hold on. Of course, you want both houses to be held on to, but it's the House that starts the impeachment process.
Trump's finished if they lose Congress. They're not going to get anything done.
But
and
I gotta
all that
tell you,
executive order stuff can't get codified.
Right. Well, but here's another point, David, and I was going to talk about this in the next segment, but where the hell are the Republicans? This has been the session with the least amount of legislation passed in recent memory, and we get it. There's a filibuster, so you need 60 votes in the Senate, and it might seem like a useless effort to go through it, but go through it.
Okay.
Put up the bill, vote for it, make the Democrats vote against these bills.
Okay. I don't want them to pass anything ever again. There's too much law. It's too much.
But you want to revoke. You want to pass bills to revoke what Biden did.
Well, that's true, but it's like, I just wish, like, maybe they could take like a couple of years off, and then the country wouldn't be any
you
different.
said it yourself. You have to codify what
Yeah,
Trump
I
did,
know.
because when these guys come in, they're going to undo it.
I know.
Oh, it's really scary stuff.
It's really something here. But there's a lot of chaos going on right now in Minnesota, and they're gearing up. Good thing it's 10 degrees there, because if it was the summer, we would have Target burning down again probably.
But the amount of fraud, I mean, you know what I get a kick out of? Is the mainstream media, which ignored this story, the fraud in Minnesota for all these years. Aren't you embarrassed? It took, what, a 25-year-old kid? I forget the name of that fella. He went in with his phone, and he visited the sites, the daycare sites, knocks on the door and says, "You have any kids in here?" There's no kids there.
Oh, well, I have bad news for you, Steve. It's 49 degrees in Minnesota, so maybe they will start
it's
rioting.
spring. It's going to be the Arab Spring.
Yeah, it's going to be the Somali Spring.
The Somali Spring in Minnesota. Oh, no.
Well, yeah. All right. I wish it was colder. But
wouldn't you think Democrats would say, look, before we're Democrats, we're Americans, and instead of saying we're going to rally around to defend the lawbreakers because they have brown skin, okay, and that's what they're doing, wouldn't you think they'd say we're going to try to save the tax dollars for all of our
what they should be
Minnesotans?
doing? You know, like I talk about this a lot. You know, I know a lot of Somalis and a lot of people who are great, and they like Trump, and 30% of Muslims nationwide voted for Trump in 2024, and 20% in 2016 or 2020, I believe. So you got to separate it out, and you're not going to do it by insulting them. And we don't want Sharia law here. Islamic jihadists killed one of my best friends, and my whole family's been affected by it. But you can't throw everybody out with the bathwater.
Absolutely right.
You know, they should be saying, listen, we're Democrats. We're going to get rid of all the fraud so Somalis can live happily ever after in Minnesota legally
and experience the American
and
way.
abide by the law, right?
Well, when you
but
live
they're not
by
doing
tribe,
that.
that's what DEI is all about. That's what tribalism is. It pits one segment of society against the other, David.
Yeah.
So next segment, let's talk about gas prices going down and John Kelly being censured by Pete Hegseth.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back on the Right Side Podcast in America First Warehouse.
You've worked hard and saved, but inflation and increased money supply are eroding your buying power. Protect and grow your wealth with physical gold and silver. Sound Money. With a Sound Money wallet, your wealth stays in your control. Buy fractionally, vault securely, ship directly, and instantly liquidate your gold and silver at the highest buyback price in the industry. Real money, real ownership. Visit tafwsoundmoney.info or scan the QR code and start securing your financial future today.
The America First Ultra MAGA store. For all your MAGA needs. We sell t-shirts, tumblers, flags, hats, sneakers, bumper stickers, and a whole lot more. The most patriotic America First retail store. The America First Ultra MAGA store.
All right, live from Studio 6B on a Friday night, live at the America First Warehouse. Live at the America First Warehouse on a Friday, Real America's Voice, all across the country, 103.9 LI News Radio, all across your radio, Suffolk County, Long Island. Glad you're in.
Corporate transfer. Fine professional, moving and storage, and inventory management.
America First Warehouse was really the most patriotic venue that you can ever imagine. We wanted to build something for people to be able to come to and feel so comfortable and so relaxed, because there is nothing out there like it. We give an opportunity for people to really feel good about themselves and about this great country.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to On the Right Side podcast, live from the America First Warehouse. Check out America First WH on X to follow us, and go to the AmericaFirstWarehouse.com. Check out all the great events coming up here. Joe the Box on the ground yesterday for J6 in Washington, D.C. Moving speech by Ashley Babbitt's mom, Mickey Withoff.
A lot of those folks may be here this weekend, in fact, David.
Yeah.
Steve Levy, your co-host.
The 10th.
Former Suffolk County executive and New York State Assembly member. Happy to be with my co-host from Real America's Voice, David Zaire. So if you've never been to to this warehouse, the America First Warehouse on Ronkonkoma, Long Island, New York, it's amazing. So if you guys are in a local area, this Saturday and Sunday, there's a group called Stay Awake America doing their tour. And these are folks who are dedicated to just keeping the reforms that we've been seeing since January of 2025 perpetuating. So come on by. It's a great time. It's really a Patriots haven here at the America First Warehouse. Thanks, Joe the Box.
Yeah, so much going on in the world. Minneapolis is going to explode.
Hey, before that, I got to say that you guys got to look for the new app for this place as well. It's the America First Media and Television app. So that's where you'll get all the stuff.
When are they launching?
Shows. I'm not sure of that, but I think it's already. I think it's already out there. So is that right,
We'll
guys
get
in the
the
room?
address
I think
for you.
it's already out. So
And
America
how do people
First
get
Media
it?
and Television. Just go to America First Media and Television on the App
Go to the Apple Store or the Google Store, and what's the name of it?
America First Media and Television.
All right, everybody go do that right away. It's exciting, and the people they partnered with are very good, and they got millions of followers on there. So, all right. And there's a QR code on your screen right now, right, for our audience?
It's coming, if you haven't seen it. Right above,
there it is,
right above,
right above
David's
my head.
Up there,
Oh, my
up
God.
there. There's the
Such a
QR.
big head.
Actually, can we put that right on David's head? It might be. You got that face for radio, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
my mother said I had a face for radio, everybody. But listen, the midterms. Very scary with the congressman's death in California, raised a thin margin for the Republicans. And the Dems still have a +4 seat gain in the House in the aggregate of the last 120 poll releases.
In other words, when people are asked, are you more likely to favor Democratic candidate or Republican candidate in the midterms, 4% more are saying
Even the
Democrats, which
latest
is
13
remarkable.
Since Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So it could be very bad for the Republicans here. But I got hot races here to watch for you, Steve. You want to hear a little bit about it?
Let's go.
So gains can be made in each party. Best case scenarios, the GOP can pick up 11 seats and 7 to the Dems. Those numbers are in flux. But the Dems could pick up 9 seats and net 2 to 4 seats in the House as of now.
Now, wait, are we talking in specials or are you talking about midterms?
No, it's a combination. So there's 2 specials going on. One is for Mikey Sherrill to replace her seat in Jersey. Will stay blue. The one for Al Green special election, I think, is next.
The guy who's always trying to impeach.
The new maps were drawn, and he was districted out of District 9. And
as Jasmine Crockett will be next year.
Special in 18. But you got Henry Cuellar and you have Gonzalez. Now, Cuellar got pardoned by Trump.
Right.
And that could help him because those 5 seats that were redistricted, necessarily 2 of them could go Democrat, which could be bad for the Republicans. So I have the quick breakdown for you. And yeah, Jasmine Crockett, along with 2 other Democrats, one of them raised a ton of money already, and he's a very popular guy here. I forgot his name. But anyway, we also have Louisiana versus Calais pending, which could or probably won't impact this year, maybe a few seats. But James Tallarico raised a ton of money for the Democrats. He's going to be in a primary against Colin Allred and Jasmine Crockett. God help us all.
Yeah.
But some key races
For Senate. For Senate.
For Senate.
For Senate.
Did I say the House?
No, you were talking about House turnaround, but Crockett, we know she's going to be sliced out, so she figured, hey, I might as well go for the Senate.
Yeah, and Ossoff in Georgia is going to run against either
Now,
Mike
trust fund
Collins,
baby.
Buddy Carter, or Derek Dooley, who raised a lot of money. He's a former college coach on the Republican side.
Notice it's not going to be Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Governor Kemp. No, it's not going to be. And there's a special to replace her coming up here. But remember, Marjorie campaigned for Trump like no other. She spent a lot of her own money.
Yeah,
doing
but
it.
she was a woman scorned when President Trump wouldn't give her stamp of approval to go for the Senate.
Or when
And,
Trump
she
called
went-
her a traitor.
Which was wrong. Which was wrong. But she, she goes a little too far out there.
I was on the
different stuff.
campaign trail all over the country for 6-7 years, and Marjorie was the biggest presence for Donald Trump of anybody on that campaign trail, and she, was very loyal to him. But I just want to give you a quick breakdown here. Democrats, 10 seats. Gabe Evans in Colorado, actually is a Republican. The district is getting more Hispanic. He may lose that seat. Ryan McKenzie, Pennsylvania, squeaked out a win as GOP. He may lose that seat. More Hispanic votes because tipping that district blue. Pennsylvania. Marionette Miller Meeks, I spent a lot of time on the ground in southeast Iowa. Very liberal over there. She could lose that. Juan Ciscomani is running against a Democratic Marine veteran, Joanna Mendoza in Arizona 6. He could lose that. Tom Keene, Jersey, 3 seats in Jersey may go blue. 3 or 4 seats in Virginia could go blue. Tom Barrett in Michigan, he won by 4, but you got to watch that. He's a Republican. Gabe Vasquez, a Democrat in New Mexico, took over for Republican Yvette Herrell when she joined the Trump administration. I don't know if there was a special there or what, I forgot.
Hey, look, it's
But
an
that
off
could
year.
That could go Republican. There's a lot of swing races.
It's an off year where Republicans in office. There's a Democrat in office. There's going to be a swamp. Like happened. Clinton got buried in '94. And Obama got destroyed in 2010.
Yeah.
And Trump got badgered in 2018.
We lost 40 seats.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. We're talking 13 seats. 40 seats is the kind of swamp
Only
that you
3
see.
times, I think, in the last 100 years.
I just named them. I just named
Those were
them.
the 3, right?
Reagan's was big in '82. That was a bad year for Republicans. But it goes back and forth. It's the party that's out of power that swings back in. So I think it's going to be exceedingly difficult for Republicans to hold. The only good news we might have is if all of these tax cuts and the rates come down, the tax cuts kick in quick enough. People say, "I like where this is
Early
going."
voting starts in 10 months already.
That's right.
So
That's
is it
right.
quick enough? I don't think it's quick enough. Even though the economy is going to take off. You have Trump accomplishments.
I do, but I wrote an article. It was published in the Washington Times. I put an end of the year review. Depending on your perspective, you either think it was the worst year ever or one of the greatest years ever, and usually it's somewhere in between. But listen, overall, the man closed the border, right? Amazing accomplishment. He lowered gas prices. He lowered tax on tips, on overtime. Senior citizens as well who are getting Medicare. Tax write-offs on buying U.S. Manufactured vehicles. People don't realize that. Europe paying their 5% for defense and finally paying for pharmaceuticals as they should, so our pharmaceuticals should go down. Stopping the genital mutilation of minors and sterilizing them. Rolling back DEI. Hostages returned. Hezbollah and Hamas dramatically weakened. 4% growth in the third quarter. Large number of illegal aliens self-deporting, another 500,000 who are deported, cracking down on expired visas, inflation under 3%. Now, it was not so good, too, all right? Needlessly picking a fight with Canada.
Trade deficits in half.
Yeah, because of the tariff money coming in. It's the trade. Well, you're talking about the trade deficit, and then the money from the tariffs is actually reducing the rate of increase in the overall deficit, though it's still a problem. Stupid, unprecedented things like the remarks he made after Rob Reiner. I think one of the biggest mistakes the president made, and I'll wrap it with this, was I'm so glad he was going after the tariff issue because everybody didn't want to touch it in the past because they knew it was a third rail, and it can cause some inflation, yes. And so good for the president saying, hey, you won't let our Chevys into Japan. We won't let your Hondas in here. You won't let our Fords into Germany. We won't let your Mercedes in here. And that was good. But he did it too fast, or too many countries all at once, and it spooked a lot of people. And I think it was a lot for the economy to handle. So as good as the economy is going now, it would have been that much stronger. And unfortunately, the tariff issue has allowed Democrats to say, oh, you're feeling pain at home? It's because of the tariffs. It's not because of the tariffs, but people are believing it is. But overall, I mean, the number of accomplishments way supersede the few negatives.
And you could probably add another 500 things to that because there's so much
I
stuff
ran out of time to
in
talk.
the bill, in the big beautiful bill, that doesn't even get talked about. And the no tax on overtime, the no tax Social Security, the no tax on tips, and the other stuff going on here. Energy, reducing permits from getting taken 2 years to 14 days on federal lands.
And we're going to see the economic benefit of that.
Yeah.
But will it be before the midterms? It takes too long. Just like Reagan in the 80s. He kicked in all of those, the deregulation and the tax, but it didn't kick in until the second part of his first
Rebuilding our Navy.
Sure.
Our Rapid Capabilities Office, partnering with private industry. I've been covering that down at the Pentagon and in D.C. It's phenomenal.
Destroying the nukes in
the Golden
Israel.
Dome.
The
Golden Dome is a go.
That was Reagan's Star Wars.
Yeah. And
Israel has it. Israel has it, and we don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, any closing thoughts? First week.
Well, I just hope that people. There's so many things changing all the time. Follow us. I write for the Washington Times, the Washington Examiner. They publish my stuff. I'm a regular contributor to Newsmax. You can go to stevelevy.info and see these podcasts, my television appearances, my writings, and what we post for our Center for Cost-Effective Government, which is a watchdog for the taxpayers. So I hope people will look for me, stevelevy.info, and centerforcosteffectivegovernment.org.
All right. Thank you for joining us. You're watching On the Right Side. Go to the AmericaFirstWarehouse.com. I'm David Zier. He's Steve Levy. And really appreciate the viewership. And we'll see you next week.
Don't forget, before we sign off with 20 seconds left, Stay Awake America Tour coming to the warehouse here on 13th Avenue in Ronkonkoma, New York. So be with us over the weekend and be back with us next Wednesday live at 2 o'clock on the right side.
Thank you, everyone.